What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and we are once again taking a look at the Bat Eater clan boss composition that we have been working on, doing our weekly update for this little video series. We are, I think, on episode number 4, about a month into building this composition, and we're doing pretty good with it so far. Been hitting some new milestones. Last night when I ran Nightmare, I almost did 33 million on one key, so we're actually coming very close to being able to one key Nightmare with the comp that we've been running. We've also been putting up some pretty big numbers on Ultra Nightmare, which you will see later on in this video. There will be a full run through the Ultra Nightmare clan boss. The big news is we are up to 3 keying Ultra Nightmare already on this composition, so we have 1 key every day we can run on Nightmare. Hopefully the eventual goal is to get this down to a 2-key Ultra Nightmare, so then we have more keys to play around with in other areas. So let's kind of take a look at the comp, and then we're going to get into another conversation a little bit about clan boss philosophy, and then we'll get into the Ultra Nightmare run to kind of show what this comp can do. So again, our lead is Battle Sage. You can see we do have her now in a fully geared up toxic set doing that poison damage, which has been a huge help for us on this composition. We actually are close. We did get a man-eater. We got one of our man-eaters into a full toxic set as well. Unfortunately, we still have not found the crit chance gloves or the attack chest for him just yet, so we're still pretty short on some of these statistics on our man-eaters. So you can see here, he's only running at about 1900 attack. We need to get this up near about 3000, so we still have a ways to go on him. Plenty of room to build out on this champion. On our fast man-eater, he is just kind of still in mix and match gear to get the speed number. And same thing with him, his attack is only about 2178, so we still have a ways to go there. A lot of damage left over on this team that we can still get out of it. And let's see who else. We got our Seeker. We actually are very close to getting Seeker into a toxic set as well. He have 3 pieces now. We just need to find one more to replace one of these other 3 here. He's actually doing a lot of work for us now. We've got his attack up to 3277. I'd like to get his crit rate up to about 100 and get more crit damage out of him, and I think he can really start doing some work in this composition, especially when we get that toxic set on him. I think he's going to be key in helping us get to that one key Nightmare clan boss run. And then we also do have Painkeeper, who is running in a full toxic set now. She does about usually 5 or 6 million damage for us on the Ultra Nightmare clan boss. Still have some of her gear to continue to level up. I'd like to get her attack up a little bit higher, and also maybe her HP a little bit, just to see if we can get a little bit of extra healing out of her. So that's the comp we're running. We're still working on this same composition. However, there has been kind of a development that I wanted to talk about here. That it's kind of funny how this worked out. You guys may remember in the very first video, I mentioned that I wanted to try Mother Superior as the speed lead when I came up with this composition. And just so I can give some credit where it's due, I kind of got this idea to build this speed lead clan boss team. I had been watching some videos that both Ash and Deadwood Jedi, who are fellow Raid content creators, had made regarding the Bat Eater composition with the 2 man-eaters, the Seeker and the Painkeeper. And that composition uses like a DPS in the 5th slot. You can use whoever you want. A lot of people use Rosin, a lot of people use Feign, usually as a poisoner. And I had Feign, so I thought, man, I can go ahead and build this team. I actually have the champions to do it with. But when I started going through, I farmed Dragon for about 3 days, and I got some gear, and it had a bunch of speed on it. And then I went and spent an entire evening rolling that gear, and almost none of it rolled a multiple speed roll. And so I was getting frustrated, like, man, this is going to take forever to get to the speed numbers I need to get to, because in order to run this composition with the traditional way, you need a lot of speed in the build. And so I started to think, I was actually working on my Arena team a little bit, trying to get my high tune a little faster, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm speed tuning for Arena with my speed lead. Why can't I just use the speed lead in my clan boss team to hit those same speed numbers that I need from the gear? And so I was like, okay, let's try that out. So originally I was thinking about using Mother Superior because she had the attack down on her A1, and then I kind of realized, like, I don't really need that in this composition because it's just a debuff that's going to take up a spot in the debuff bar, but it doesn't really matter for us too much here because we are only getting debuffs out of the poison sets we're using. But then I settled on Battle Sage because her speed aura was actually higher. It's 19% versus I think 13% on Mother Superior. So I thought that would make the gear requirements a lot less. I'll be able to build the composition. and we'll see how it goes. Well, of course, we know it worked, and you can see here we've 3-keyed Nightmare. But you can see here that my clan mate and fellow raid content creator LeilaFox has actually gone and built the same team I was thinking about building. We kind of were talking about this a little bit, and both thought it was kind of a unique team and an interesting concept to go after. So she decided to try it with Mother Superior, and she's actually, this is like the first couple days she's got the composition up and running, and she's already doing really high damage on Ultra Nightmare, and then I think she ran it on Nightmare as well. And you can see here she's already getting over 21 million damage a key on this team with only 103k power. And it's kind of crazy because I thought about running the same speed lead, and when I built my team I was only doing about 13 million the first couple runs I did a Nightmare. So it got me thinking maybe we should switch and try the original composition that we were thinking about in the first place. Now the interesting thing with that is, actually, if I had been smarter in the beginning, I would have just done that from the get-go, and let me tell you why. And I have to give credit again to Deadwood Jedi on this one, because I was actually watching one of his videos over the weekend, and I thought about this. One of the problems we have with Battle Sage is that really the only ability we get use out of in this clan boss run is her A1. She's got a revive, and then she's got an attack up. A Seeker already provides an attack up, so we really don't get much utility out of her on either her A2 or her A3. But if you look at Mother Superior, she's got the Lightning Sanction with the decreased attack, which again we don't really need since we're running the Unkillable, but that would be useful on a traditional clan boss team. But she has this here, the Fill with Blessing, heals an ally by 30% of her HP. The shield we really don't care about. And then she's got this A3 Brim with Life, which does a continuous heal buff for 2 turns. So why is this important? And again, if I had known this in the beginning, I would have just gone ahead and built her out. Well, if you look at masteries, and not on her, but one of the masteries we've been running on a lot of these characters is Retribution, to try to get some counterattack damage. That's a big way to get damage on the clan boss. And you notice here it says when the champion loses 25% of their max HP from a single enemy skill. So when the clan boss hits you hard, you're going to lose 25% of your max HP. You don't care about that in an Unkillable because obviously you can't die. But if you want to get that counterattack in, you have to have enough health filled up in your health bar in order for him to take 25% off. And as you've probably seen in some of these runs, most of the champions in this composition we're using are pretty much well below 25% for the most of the time. So what happens with Battle Sage, unfortunately, is we're just not getting enough healing out of the comp with Painkeeper, who uses, obviously, on her A2, the Spectacular Sweep, heals by 50% of her max HP, which we don't really have. We have right around 40,000, but it's not enough to fill up the health bar enough to where we're getting value out of those counterattacks. So I noticed that, Leila was doing a ton of damage with her comp early on compared to mine, and I said, well, that's probably because she's getting the heals on those champions above the 25% mark on their health, and they're able to then proc that Retribution more often during the run. They're getting a lot more value out of that, especially if you've got them in that toxic set to get more of that poison damage on the counterattack. So I think what we're going to do is over the weekend we are going to try it. And I've already got Mother Superior almost to level 60. I've already geared her up. I already have her at the correct speed we need in order to stick her in speed lead. What I have to do is kind of recalibrate the numbers on the 2 Man-Eaters, Painkeeper, and my Seeker. I've kind of looked at it ahead of time. I only need to pick up about 3 or 4 speed on each champion. So that's what we're going to be working on over the next couple of days. I'm going to stick Mother Superior in the lead and see if that extra healing and those extra counterattacks are going to make that big of a difference. And it'll be kind of interesting to see, since we're already doing, like I said, almost 33 million on Nightmare with Battle Sage in there, and about, a little bit over 24, 25 million on Ultra Nightmare. It's going to be interesting to see when we stick Mother Superior in, if that damage increases. I'm kind of excited to try it out. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to experiment a little bit with that over the weekend, and then next week we'll kind of have those results to talk about. One more thing I wanted to touch on before we get into this run is something very, very important that I see a lot of clan boss guides sometimes don't talk about this. And I kind of ran into this today a little bit when I was trying to goof around on Nightmare with a normal clan boss team that I was working on. I have some other videos I want to do on the clan boss, like with an all rare series, some other things, and I was kind of just doing some experimenting. And I was kind of working off a video guide I've been watching, and unfortunately my damage numbers were not anywhere near what was being shown in the video. And this is kind of a common thing I think happens to a lot of people. They'll watch some clan boss guides, they build their team up, and then it doesn't perform like what they expect it to. And I think a thing a lot of people forget about is the Great Hall. I've talked about this in some other videos. This is honestly the most important area of Raid Shadow Legends. And it's kind of unfortunate because I know a lot of people don't like to play the arena, but you kind of have to just farm the arena and do what you can. You can see here we've been working actually on our Void crit damage and Void attack to try to help our clan boss composition that we're working on. But if you don't have any of this stuff built up, especially attack, crit damage, accuracy. In our Unkillable, we don't really need accuracy because we're not running a poisoner, but if you were, you would definitely need some accuracy. You know, the defense, the HP, if you're trying to run that traditional clan boss team, you need that, you know, to hit that 3,000 defense number. You know, you can do some HP tuning for the stun, and then you want your attack up too, so you can do more damage. So if you haven't really done much on these areas, you're not going to achieve the results that you're seeing. And a lot of those guides are being made by people that are in-game players. This entire Great Hall is completely finished. So, for example, on attack, if you have that at max level 10, you're getting 20% attack extra on your build. Like with crit damage, you're getting an extra 25% crit damage. So these are huge numbers when you compare to like the lower levels here. So if you're not getting the damage out of your run, you're not getting the results you see from a guide video you're using, this is probably the most likely reason. And I just wanted to touch on this real quick because it's something I don't see very often. There's some guys that do talk about this, but a lot that don't. So you definitely want to come in and make sure you're working on your areas in your Great Hall. Just overall in general for content in the game, it's great. But also for your clan boss, you really want to make sure you're focusing on those areas so you can scrap every little bit of damage and accuracy out of your builds and perform quite a bit better when you're doing those clan boss runs. All right, so that's enough of a lecture, I guess. Let's go ahead and jump into the Ultra Nightmare run. Now, I've already run this, so we're just going to splice over to the run that I did previously. We'll speed through that, and then at the end of that, I will go ahead and give my final thoughts for this week's update, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit about what we're going to do going forward in the future. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into our Ultra Nightmare run. We're going to go ahead and load up the clan boss. This will be our third key of the day, so hopefully this allows us to 3-key Ultra Nightmare with this composition, which is pretty cool considering where we started. So, of course, we're going to start with our A3 on our first Man-Eater. Then we're going to go ahead and do our A1 on Seeker. You can see is hitting for a lot more damage now that he has those improvements. Go ahead and throw our Painkeeper's A3 out there. We're going to do A2 on our second Man-Eater. Then we will use our A1 on Battle Sage. You can see there we're getting that poison from the poison set. So we're into our second round now. Again, we're just going to go A1 on our Man-Eater here. We're going to pop Seeker's A2, do his A1, and then we will use Painkeeper's A2, and we will click auto, and we will let these guys do their thing, and we'll come back at the end of the run and see how well they were able to do. Alright guys, there you have it, 24.63 million damage on the Ultra Nightmare clan boss. You can see some of our improvements with our Man-Eater now doing around 6 million damage, and our Seeker, Painkeeper all over 5 million now. So those toxic sets are really coming in handy, along with getting some of those crit rate gloves and the attack percent chest on our Seeker. So pretty awesome. We have achieved our 3-key for the Ultra Nightmare clan boss. That's pretty awesome. You can see now 74 million today on 3 keys, pretty consistent. And in order to 3 key Ultra Nightmare, you need to be doing over 70.2 million. So about 23.4 million per key. So we have comfortably reached that, which is pretty awesome. So now we just see how much we can improve from that position. And as I did say, over the weekend probably, I am going to be trying to move over to that Mother's Superior lead and see how much better we do on that. I'm looking forward to actually seeing how her healing helps that counterattack. It was such a big thing I missed in the beginning, and I really wish I'd paid more attention, because we could have just done this from the get-go. And I'll be interested to see if that pays off in terms of more damage. I've pretty much built her up already. I would actually like to get her into full toxic gear, but unfortunately I didn't have the gear in order to hit the speed I needed just yet. So that's something we'll be working on too, trying to grind that up from Dragon. Maybe even moving over some gear from Battle Sage once we switch over to Mother Superior as the lead on this team, just to kind of see how that's going to work out. But I'm looking forward to checking that out too, because it's kind of a fun little unique comp we're working with here now that's doing some work. As I said, we did about 33 million on 1 key and Nightmare, so we need about 39 million to 1 key the Nightmare clan boss. So that would be pretty cool if we can get that to a 1 key and Nightmare, and then somehow build up a little more damage and manage to 2 key Ultra Nightmare. That's going to allow us to do a lot more work in the clan boss overall. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this week's update on my Bat Eater comp that I have been working on now for about a month. I'm pretty impressed with the results overall, and I can't wait to see how much further we can go with this composition once we continue to build up the gear and also build up our Great Hall. Probably the most important area for this comp is getting some of those numbers up in our Great Hall. So over the weekend, we're going to be farming some gear, farming up the arena a little bit, trying to build up that Great Hall, and seeing how much more we can squeeze out of this composition. Anyways, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. As always, I hope you're having a great day. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you again next time.